So, welcome. This is 60 Minutes in Berlin. My name is Viktor, and with me there, suddenly, instead of one, there are 4 persons. I'm not prepared at all, so it will be a lot of improvising. And so Tyler Brent and what is the name of the band?
This is going great already.
That is great. You took me.
There it is.
The Shakedown, yeah. I didn't have the CD. I have a digital download I prepared for one person, so
here we go.
we go ahead.
We're a package deal.
Let's start with some music. We love to play.
Yeah,
Before then we come to what do you just do it.
Well, I mean, when I pick up this guitar, it makes me want to go.
And this is a Spinal Tap song. Give me some money.
When you're together on stage or when you're together playing as a band, fun is the most important thing for you.
Oh, you gotta have
fun, or what is it?
Yeah, not worth it if you don't have fun. No, we have a blast on stage.
That's true.
Who's the funniest guys of you? Who's the one who always starts with the fun, or does it develop?
I'd say Graham's the one I laugh at the most.
I don't know, last night during the show, we were doing our last song, and Caleb has this little alter ego named Sal, which is a really stupid voice. Maybe he'll do it for you if no.
How does Sal sound like?
Come on, dude.
Just say hi.
No.
Just say hi.
Do it.
Hi.
So anyways, I'm up at the microphone singing the last song of our...
Hello.
I'm singing... God, he's out of the box now. Put him back in the box.
I'm sorry, Sal's the funniest guy in the band.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I'm singing the last song, and I start hearing Sal singing it right behind me.
Into my ear.
And he didn't think I could hear it, but I was like, I'm going to forget the words. And I'm trying not to laugh.
Did it work out?
Yeah, I made it through, but I was like, dude, you can't do that on stage.
No, he did good, and I had no idea he could hear until afterwards. I was like, Graham, did you hear me singing Sal? And Tyler was like, no, dude, I heard you the whole time.
Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. You're doing so wonderful things. You're on tour with AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, and why didn't I know you before? Why only this is the second full series, right?
You're missing out, man. I don't know.
You're
We are far
playing
away.
so much. You're playing so much. You don't have the time to do records, or what is it?
Yeah, well, you know, we got kind of caught in a deal with our label before, and we had our hands tied and couldn't release a bunch of music, and we recorded 13 songs and only could put out 6. So we have been kind of slacking on releasing a lot of music, but we have been busy. We've been on the road a bunch, and so this one we were able to make this one on our own, and we were like, hey, we're doing this our way, so we're putting out a full-length record. So here we are.
We also, I think, intend to release music more frequently from now on.
Yeah, well, I think we've just kind of taken the reins back, and so we are going to do it our way from here on out.
Which is also a reason why this album is self-titled, because it did feel like we were taking control back of our music, and we didn't want to make another EP. That's a popular way of releasing music in America, and we just prefer full-length albums. We're constantly writing and recording, and we just figured it's time to reintroduce ourselves to the world, and here's our self-titled album, and it's almost like a fresh start for us, Yeah.
As I said before, I knew your name, but I didn't know the band. And on the other hand, you're quite successful. You're playing, but at least here in Germany, we didn't know about that so far. I don't know how it is. And are you really too busy sometimes? In a way, you have real success. A band likes to play live. And are you really so busy playing live, going from gig to gig?
It eats up a lot of time for sure. And you probably hadn't heard of us just because we didn't ever make it over to Europe until last summer. So we've been back. This will be our 4th time over in Europe in 2 years. So it's still very, well, whatever, Graham. 4 or 5, something. Point is, it's all in the last 2 years. So it's still very new to us, and I'm sure we're very new to a lot of people over here, but the whole point is to keep coming back, and every time we come back, more and more people have heard of us. So, but yeah, touring is very time consuming. Absolutely.
I still stick to AC/DC because very interesting for me is that only one band so far that I know, Vintage Trouble, they opened up and they did it very well. And the rest, the other bands who opened up for this huge band, it didn't help them at all.
I hope you're not talking about us.
Opening up for AC/DC, it didn't do them good at all.
What do you mean, like they sucked, or it didn't help their career?
It didn't help the career. It didn't help the career. Normally, you think opening up for AC/DC, Vintage Trouble is the only band that got a boost that I know so far. That opened up for AC/DC. How did it work out for you?
I think they just got a boost because they're a badass band, and they got to play in front of more people.
I think they've got a boost because they work so hard. Too.
Those guys, talking about being on the road all the time, those guys are on the road all the time.
They're all really good friends of ours, and they're one of the hardest working bands out there, you know. And but it is difficult to walk into a situation where you open up for these massive legendary bands because you are essentially the plastic wrap on the album these fans have been waiting for. So you're going to get torn off and thrown away unless you go, hey, look at me, pay attention to me. We're setting you up for what you know is coming. Like, so we're here to like start the party off, and Vintage Trouble does that great. We had a great response on the AC/DC tour, and we were warned that we might get booed off the stage, and that never happened. And we played last night, and people in the first few rows were wearing AC/DC shirts because they saw us at that gig. So I think it definitely has been beneficial, and Vintage Trouble's great.
I'm not a musician, and touring so much, you had the opportunity before the CD was released to try out these songs in front of a huge crowd, and it worked out. And now I want to know from you, does it work out the same way in front of a smaller crowd, or there's a difference? Playing clubs on smaller crowds, is this a difference? How the songs work out for you, or is it just in my mind? Is this just a question of an old journalist?
For us, the show is the same, whether it's, a stadium or a club, and we approach it the same. We give it the same energy and the same passion. But as far as, like, the songs, I don't know that they necessarily feel any different other than it's just, a smaller crowd in a club. But
we can hear better sometimes.
Yeah. But we saved a lot of these songs on the new record for the clubs, to be honest. I mean, we we didn't want to give them all away. We didn't want some versions to live on YouTube or something before the record came out. So there was only a handful that we were playing out in the stadiums with Guns and AC/DC, and the songs were great. We learned so much doing those tours and learned so much about how to craft a song, that would work in that setting and really in any setting. I mean, we were sponges on those tours, just watching every night to just every detail on how to put on a show and write a song. And so it's really changed the way that we have approached songwriting and, and even like making records and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. And somewhere in an interview you said that it's a kind of music you don't play, that you can't hear on the radio normally. And I'm sure you will hear Heartland. This is a song, your opener, and at least I'm sure I will play it in the radio.
Yeah.
And that is a rock and roll song. It's a real cool opener. It's not
cool.
We talked about photos earlier. You do a perfect photo, but you do something that's not so perfect, and the crowd cheers, and they are fascinating. You don't know what the people are thinking. And Heartland is a song that opens up, and it's a song to listen to dance to.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's not really a traditional formula with that song where it's like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. It just kind of has a couple of different sections that it's hard to even label, but that was just one that, we got together and came up with the riff and started jamming, and it felt good. And obviously there's a lot of turmoil in the world right now. And as artists, I think we felt a bit of a responsibility to just kind of comment on that and And I like the idea of saying, like, you know, if it happens to one person, it happens to everybody. You know, obviously, like if you're being discriminated against, or if, you know, if you're being persecuted, then you feel that so much more. But it really does reflect poorly on just humans in general. And so there's some, like, to go back to what you were saying before about stadiums and clubs, like one of the things I find so amazing about 50,000 to 100,000 people getting together in a stadium, it doesn't matter what anyone's beliefs are. If AC/DC kicks into "You Shook Me All Night Long," 100,000 people are going to put their hands up together.
Pure energy.
And so music does have that unifying power. And we even noticed it during our set, like whenever we played "Don't Mind the Blood," for example, there's like a chanty bit in there, and you see that many people singing together. It reminds you that, wow, artists do have a responsibility to bring people together, especially when the world is kind of all going, you know, everyone's going their own way. So I think Heartland was just sort of another step in that direction for us.
What are your other songs about on the CD? Are songs like this there? Heartland is very special. It's in a way it's political, in a way, and the other songs, what are they about?
I mean, there's a bunch of different tunes. Like "Jealous Me" was inspired by, you know, me being jealous of someone I care about, you know, obviously, which is a feeling. Like if you're a touring musician or just a human with feelings in general, you've experienced jealousy. So it seemed like a good subject to write about. And, you know, "Manipulate Me" is a similar thing where it's more like relationship based. And then, you know, "Don't Mind the Blood," it's just about, like, you know, not being willing to literally take a punch for something you believe in. It could be like Noah brought up a woman in a wheelchair getting beat up at a protest rally, and it's like she was willing to, you know, stand up for something that she believes in to the point of getting hurt for it. And it could be something as serious as that, or a kid getting in a van and spending 10 years fighting to play as rock and roll, you know. There's a bunch of different topics. It varies song by song. So there's 11 different answers for that question.
I know. It's a good opportunity to do some promotion. That's
Yeah, exactly.
why I asked it. Let's go away from promotion. Every album is special. It's one of my standards. Otherwise, you wouldn't record the album. And if you look back, now to both of you, if you look back, is there something you're proud of? Say, wow, that's so cool that we did it. That how it sounds like, that we made it. Or is there something where you say, wow, I'm so proud of that?
You're definitely proud of, you know, if you put out an album and you're not proud of it, then you may be in the wrong line of work, you know.
You're always proud of an album, but there's something special.
There is, yeah. Well, every album, you know, at least for us, is just kind of a snapshot of exactly where we are in that moment in time, you know. Which is why I feel like every time we put something out, it sounds a little bit different, you know. Yeah, that's what makes it special for me, is going back and listening to it years later and being able to recall everything that was going on when those songs were written and when they were recorded. And, you know, we'll look back at this record and think about, wow, we did that right after touring with AC/DC and Guns N' Roses, and it changed the way we wrote songs and changed the way we played shows forever. So
yeah, I think it's, I mean, he, you know, is dead on. It's like, it's special because you can feel and hear the evolution, I think, of us. And we've been, you know, the four of us for a little over 5 years, and, you know, we're constantly, you know, growing together and you know, changing, and the way we write songs is, you know, changing, and we're always like, I think keeping each other on, you know, we're not trying to like do one thing and just continue doing that, you know. We're trying to push each other and push ourselves and, you know, keep moving forward. And so it's cool to, like he said, I think when I listen to the record, I think about, you know, the tours that we had done, you know what I mean, prior. And it's pretty cool because to me, like, I hear that, you know, in the record, and I feel that. And a lot of times, like, some of the songs that we were out playing on that tour, like before the record came out, obviously, I put myself in that situation, you know what I mean? and I can feel those moments again.
Yeah, I'm kind of just proud of certainly the songwriting on the record, but also the fact that we, you know, did it ourselves for the most part. I mean, that we were able to put the whole record together on our own, record most of it in Tyler's basement, and you know, I think it sounds pretty damn good considering, you know, the way we made it. So
Well, I'm proud of it. I think it sounds pretty good. Like, not even considering how we made it. I think it just, you know, it stands up to just about any record you'd put it up against. And but yeah, I am proud of like how hard we worked, because we did spend countless hours figuring it out, you know, because we didn't have a record label when we started this. So we'd come off the Rocker Bus World Tour, and we were playing tight, and we had a tour coming up with Guns N' Roses, and we were like, we have to put out an album. We've been like robbing our fans of these songs for too long. And it wasn't necessarily us that was doing that, but now we had the option to put out an album. So we took a month and a half, 2 months, and just kind of locked ourselves away and did it, you know, to the point where like we were even figuring out like engineering stuff on our own. Like I started having these crossfade nightmares about like, you know, how to put stuff together from a technical side. And I don't know, I'm just proud that we got it done, because it seemed like such a far-fetched idea in the beginning.
We had some help too, that's for sure.
Yeah, sure. And it worked out. It really worked out very well. Before I go on with my strange question, you've got a wonderful guitar, and you have the guitar. Is there a rhythm, riff that makes you shiver, that you like to play? That you love to play?
A riff that makes you shiver.
Well, I actually have these chords for a song that I haven't written yet, but
a chord, whatever it is.
it's really these are really pretty chords. But I've tried to write the song a few times, and then I'm like, no, it's not good enough for these chords, so I keep saving them. But I'll play it for you.
Wonderful.
It's like a lullaby.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's cool. That makes me. Sometimes music makes me shiver. I get goosebumps if it's it, and I love
totally.
this. Yeah, you were talking about evolution and about going on, about changing. There are two things that popped in my mind. First of all, what is it that you are changing? Where are you going? What are you doing differently? And the second thing is, you open up for AC/DC, and this is the band who managed to keep simple. They went on, but they were one of the few bands that managed to keep simple. It's a danger otherwise. There are two questions put in one, but it's more a kind of discussion. In which way are you changing, or did you change? What did you learn?
I think playing shows, and you know, especially the stadiums and the arenas, playing shows makes you better. Playing live in front of people, night and night, you know, it just makes you better. And then AC/DC, what was it that Angus said about, what is the thing you were saying the other day?
Oh, yeah, well, like, because, I mean, playing in arenas and stadiums was new to us, so obviously, like what you said was, like, they are the kings of keeping it simple, and we learned very quick that, especially since people didn't know our songs and we weren't about to go out there and play a bunch of covers, we had to just basically rely on the bare bones rock and roll sound of the Shakedown. And I talked to Angus backstage one night and was like, yeah, man, you know, like I feel like we're getting a little bit more of the crowd each night. And he said, well, if you believe that you're going to take them on a journey, then they'll believe they'll come with you. Like, and make them believe that you're going to take them and they'll come with you. And so that kind of, I don't know, that just told me, like, you just got to be confident and go out there and own it. And from that point on, like, we started getting, you know, there's like, we have videos of the entire stadium singing with us. You know, it was really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, you learn something with each show Whether it's, hey, we need to do our guitar changes faster to get into this song faster so we don't lose somebody's attention. It can be as simple as that. But yeah, it's like going to college, rock and roll college or something.
What did Angus say about making the 11 same albums or something like that?
Oh yeah, it was like, yeah, people said we made 10 albums that were exactly the same. We made 11. Something like that. Maybe it was 12, I forgot.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they're like the only ones who can get away with doing that though.
Yeah, I know this as well. And what I was thinking when I prepared for this interview was very often a band with a second or third album, they start to have an orchestra and it's getting bigger and bigger. Very often it happens. If you follow the bands and suddenly they are gone. Are you tempted sometimes? Or is it easy for you to stay simple, to do the rock and roll? Or are you tempted sometimes to do more, to let it sound better, to let it make a greater sound, a bigger sound? Or is it easy for you? Just play your rock and roll, don't think about that.
I don't really think we put too much thought in it. We just play music that we like, you know? This isn't a calculated band at all. I mean, we just... Like, there are things on this new record that we've never done before, but that wasn't like some big ploy to go, oh, well, let's put a synthesizer there because that's what the kids like these days. Like, who cares, you know? We just, you know, I mean, we just, what?
You're laughing.
You're laughing at your grandpa thing.
Perfect. I don't know this.
Someone had the idea of a synthesizer, yeah?
But, I mean, we just make music that we like, and, you know, like our first album to me sounds younger than, it sounds like we were, like a lot of those songs were written when I was 17. And so naturally, like, I've lived a bit of life, and like we all lived a bit of life together, and I think you can hear the maturity in this album, and that's, like, whenever I'm a fan of a band, that's what I want. I want to hear an evolution, like for example, like Jeff Beck, each record progresses somewhere, and some bands are like, they get to the destination with their first album, like AC/DC. And so the fans are immediately there. And some bands have to take their fans on a journey and never even get to a destination, but it's just a different way of looking at it, you know?
Yeah. In another interview, you said you were asked about the live record. And I think I read... Yeah, it's impossible. These are the huge bands. You have only a very short sound check. You can't record live. You can't record a live session also. And I was listening to your music. I'm looking forward to tonight. They are playing here in Berlin tonight at the Music in Frieden, and we will do something on Instagram. I hope you will join us tonight. And what I heard of your music, you are a live band. You are the live band, and you should do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming. And sorry, it was very improvised, but I prepared for one guy, and so it's something.
It's all good. and we would love to do a live album one day. I think the interview that you probably saw, we just, on the AC/DC tour, we would literally get like 10 minutes to sound check, so it wouldn't make sense on that tour. But
we will do it one day, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
most of our records are tracked live anyway, so we just gotta, you know, make it work.
One last chord, and then we have to say goodbye, and we have to take some photos.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
TB, ladies and gentlemen.